This meeting is being recorded.
Yeah.
Check 1, 2, check 1. Check 1. Are you hearing me okay?
I can hear you. Fantastic.
Okay. Yeah, I recognize that. That was a Arista recording.
Yeah.
Produced by Kashif, songwriter.
Yeah.
Producer, yeah. Yeah, where'd you find that?
I found this one in Japan on a military base. The library was shutting down.
Oh, wow.
I had became a Wooten fan. My buddy knew about it, and he says, "Chris, I got a surprise for you." I'm like, "What is it?" Like, here you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, stay tuned. We got new music coming out this year.
That's good.
Yeah.
The Wooten brothers.
Yeah, and we'll be touring.
Oh, that's cool.
We'll be touring this fall. Yeah, September and October.
That's cool. Now, Roy, you're the drummer, right?
Yeah.
So we crossed paths many years ago, May '94. You and your brother Victor were playing with a Bella Fleck. This was This was the time when the piano player couldn't play with you guys no more, and you had you were doing everything with MIDI.
Okay.
Like first stages of MIDI, you had the drummer-tar, and I remember you was explaining to everybody how it worked. It was the Pensacola Jazz Festival in Pensacola, Florida, and I remember your brother. I volunteered to help set up the stage and all that stuff, and I asked your brother, I said, "How are you doing?" You know, like everybody, all the bass players. How you doing that? And I remember your brother. He took the time and he was showing me how to do it. And then they were like, "Victor Wooten to the stage," and he said, "Okay, now you take this, you open, you do this. Victor Wooten to the stage." But the one thing I thought it was great about all that was just that he was really trying to show me it. You know, that's the biggest lesson that I got out of it is that
that's so great, gracious. Man.
Yeah, he's so gracious. I was like, wow, he was really showing me. And then you guys went, of course, you killed the show.
Okay. Wow, that was in the 90s?
94, man. That's a long time ago, man.
That's kind of early hair. Yeah. Nice.
But yeah, I just wanted to share that story with you, man. Let you see the little album. I don't know how often you see this album, but I've never seen one like it.
Yeah, it brings back some memories there.
Yeah. Back in the day.
Very cool.
Back in the day. Yeah. You learn a lot of lessons working with these record companies and producers, man. There's a lot of lessons.
You're going to share one with us?
Well, a lot of times it's like you have to be careful working with these producers and record companies, especially if you have a producer that's also an artist themselves. You have to be very cautious.
Can you go a little bit deeper? So what? Go a little deeper.
It's pretty much there's a track record. If a musician is out there themselves, kind of. Like, see, Dr. Dre produces a lot of people, but he's kind of not out front. So he's not so much competing with them. He sort of comes out every once in a while. But if you have somebody like Prince or somebody, you know, a lot of times when they're producing people, sometimes there's a competition going on. That's all. I'm just trying to think. A lot of times the track record for people who are out there doing it, like I'm trying to think, did Earth, Wind & Fire produce anybody?
The Emotions.
Right. And see, a lot of times when they're out there doing it themselves, there's something about what they produce doesn't really pop off a lot of times.
Yeah.
Because it's a little bit of an inner, you know, they're still doing it. So you just have to be wary about that. There was a young lady who recently signed with Beyonce, and it did not make me excited. You know what I mean? Because I knew nothing was going to happen with her career, you know, because she's not getting ready to pop over Beyonce. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you just kind of got to be aware of stuff like that. That happened with DMX when he signed with Jay-Z when he took over the record label. Jay-Z was supposed to retire, and he pulled DMX over from that label to his label, and then didn't put his stuff out, and came back. So that's all. There's a little bit of that. You just got to be aware of that kind of stuff, particularly now when you can actually record and do a lot of stuff on your own at home now. And if you're gonna put stuff out on Spotify, you don't really make money unless it's your own label. because Spotify has a deal with labels. The labels get the lion's share. The labels and Spotify get the lion's share, and the artist writer gets a little share. So you need to be the label so that you get more percentage of what you're doing. And so it's like you learn how to navigate the waters, you know.
Gotcha. All right.
Yeah, just know how
That's
to
cool,
navigate the
man.
water. So that's just kind of a lesson. You just watch out for producers that produce themselves, putting out people. Sometimes that's a tricky road right there. And a lot of times they might put one, but if you're the second person, you're not gonna see the light of day a lot of times, you know.
Yeah,
Like
there
when
was,
Puffy before Puffy had Biggie, he had somebody else. But when he got Biggie, that guy got squashed. You know. So
Gotcha.
you just gotta watch out. It's a highway you gotta navigate, man. It's a music business. And you
absolutely.
always navigate business. Now on that particular record, that record was really nice. The only thing about it is by the time the record got done, we were barely on the record.
Yeah.
We were barely on the record. Like Vic, I think Vic's maybe on one song, you know.
Wow.
And so we weren't so excited about Vic not being on, you know, about us not being on the record. And now, so many years later, people can understand what we were talking about. You know, a bass player like Vic not being on the record these are stories that you survive. But the moral of the story is you don't quit. Whatever happens, you know, these are lessons for you to grow from.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? So even when I tell that story about Vic, I said the moral of the story is Vic didn't quit. See what I'm saying? He became a bass player that nobody would ever forget.
Right.
That's
See
true.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Right. So that's the lesson. You know, you don't tuck your tail. You get hit. It's like football. You got to treat it just like football, man. Every play, they're trying to knock you down in football. Every single play. And so but you don't stay down when you get knocked down in football. A lot of life is like that.
That's right.
You think they're not trying to knock you down, but when you ain't looking, boom, you on your behind. And some people are too soft, you know, they too hurt to get back up. It's like, but you gotta treat it like a game, you know. Whatever don't kill me, make me stronger.
It's absolutely.
That type of, and you get up for your next play, a little smarter, a little wiser, a little wiser for the play, you know, that type of thing. Music business a lot like that.
I see where DL has his hand up. You had a question,
Yeah,
Brother Roy?
I do kind of. I mean, it sounds like you're saying that there could be, if let's just say, now Jerry and I talked about this a little bit. I'm just starting out. I mean, just starting. I ain't done nothing.
right.
But it sounds like you're almost saying, you know, maybe it's better to choose either be an artist or be a producer, work behind the scenes so you don't have that conflict. So you don't get into a situation where you're like trying to figure out, okay, who am I going to put up? Who am I going to put energy into? I put energy into myself. Like, cause I don't want to try to be everything to everybody. Exactly. I just want to be really good at something.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, but that sounds like what you're trying to say.
That's part of it, you know, like your artist producer, or it's kind of like, you know, knowing that you can produce your own effort. See, it used to be being on a record label was the big thing. I got signed. But that's not such a big flag of honor right now.
Correct.
If you get signed and your record is on Spotify, you're definitely not making no money. You hear about Pharrell and all of them having the biggest record on earth, but he's with a big label.
Yeah.
But by the time Happy played, man, he didn't get much money because he wasn't the label.
Right.
See what I'm saying? So we got to be wise about that. We got to be wise about it. It's kind of like with NFTs, non-fungible tokens. At the end of the day, you can just have a community of thousands, not millions. And you can nurture that community. You know what I mean? You can nurture that community and sustain yourself as an artist. You're not talking about millions of people. You're just talking about finding your tribe. We're in a different time where we can be a little bit smarter, a little bit wiser about things. You know what I'm saying? So that way too, you're being wise about how you're going to get the word out, how you're going to build your tribe and build your community as part of your creative effort.
Absolutely.
You know, around what you're doing. And a lot of that is, what's your story? What is the story? You're thinking about the whole thing. What made me write this song, and how do I share that story? Because that's what's going to get people to care about what you're doing. You know, there's a story there. Yeah, there's a story. You want to be a storyteller at the same time. So with that in mind, I heard Gary Vaynerchuk say that with Spotify, let's say you were signed to a label, right? But he was saying a lot of times you don't want, if you're not going to make money off of Spotify, what could be cool is you make a record about the making of the record. You know what I mean? This is what I'm doing. You keeping a diary, like who kept it? Like an avatar. This is day so and so. I'm at the Navi, and you're just keeping a little diary about your odyssey, getting people in, and you can release that. You know what I mean? It's almost like releasing podcasts about the project, a story sequence about the project, and you can use that to build an audience and put that on Spotify and have some type of ownership into that.
That's good.
You know, so this is strategy stuff now, you know, and it's also fun stuff too, and making people have fun seeing your journey. And so I'm just thinking more and more like that along the way. And so with this along the way, it's kind of like the guy, Isaac Hayes Jr., who started Fanbase. He said, you're going to see people that are less famous making way more money because they're doing things a different way. They're building their fan base. They're creating a paid community. You know, I think a fan base, you can create a $4.99 paid community. People subscribe. You know, just subscribe for your private content.
Right.
You know, and even if you get a couple of thousand, you know, of that, you're like, whoa, you created like a lifestyle. I used to know the numbers. I don't know the numbers out of my head, but if you had even 1,000 true fans at $5, that's, you know, what is that?
It's $5,000 a month. You know,
$5,000 a month, and that adds up.
60,000 a year, easy.
Right, and that's only 1,000. See what I'm saying? So we're talking about thousands. We're talking about building something a different kind of way. That's correct. Right. So that's worth looking at. See what I'm saying? Yeah, you know, and stepping aside a lot of the knucklehead stuff. You know, and so you're gonna see artists. That's what Isaac Hayes' son is saying. You're gonna see artists working that, building their communities, and you're gonna see lesser rappers making way more than these big rappers with the big names and stuff. You know, as we go forward, because they're being a little bit smarter about it. So it's a music business, but you know, there's a lot of ways to navigate this thing. You know. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now you were part of a camp this weekend.
Yeah, man, I've been going, man. Yeah, I just finished teaching a jazz camp. Kids like learning how to play jazz. They're wind players, saxophone players, and they're reading jazz charts. And a lot of them haven't even played jazz before, man. And so they're learning how to do the charts, learn how to get the feel, and they're moving fast. They're really getting it. They're really getting it. So yeah, they bring me in there, Reggie, my brother, a saxophone player that my brother Reg plays with, to help them navigate to navigate, you know, to make the stuff feel good, you know, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Now I don't know if you remember Fred Lane or not, but Fred was on because his band performs in the metaverse every Wednesday. So
yeah, I went in there right before I was going somewhere. I was working on my instrument. We were on the way to build my instrument, and we heard a little bit as we were hitting the road. Yeah. That's pretty cool. Yeah.
So I'm glad Fred is joining us tonight because he is.
Oh, Fred is here?
Yeah, Fred is here. You
nice.
Want to pop in and say hello, Fred? I know you just slipped through the side door, man, but you can say what's up.
Peace and love, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yep. Yes.
Hey, what's going on? I'm enjoying man. I'm learning a lot, taking notes for sure.
Yeah, man. How them concerts going in the metaverse?
Oh, they're awesome. They're awesome. They're growing as new worlds being built. Right now, I'm building my website right now. That's what I've really been focused on, because I don't want to like sell my NFTs on OpenSea. I want to sell them direct off of my website. So that's what I've been working on now.
Okay, so it's interesting. We had a meeting and we heard that OpenSea was going to stop supporting music. Are you hearing about that?
No, I didn't hear about that. But like for me, I'm not even focused on OpenSea. I'm focusing on like, my own.
Well, I was just saying because it's right on time, because we heard that OpenSea was backing off of supporting music without making the announcement.
That's crazy. That's
Yeah, they're just backing off because they want it to be clean and simple, like one of these other places where they don't have to worry about the metadata on the music and stuff.
You got things like Rarible where you can sell your music too and your artwork. It's another one.
Yes. Yeah. The thing that's interesting about the metaverse is our tour manager he said I gotta go watch the presentation on Apple's new glasses. He said they really got it right, man. He said they kicked Facebook. They got it where you put the glasses on, and he says you got a screen. You can make that screen bigger than an IMAX, like you're watching a big IMAX. He said it's just like, and it's also augmented reality where you're still in this world.
Yeah,
You can still be in this world and that world, and this kind of. He said they nailed it. So watch out. That's going to be a big. Probably they're pushing they're really pushing forward into the metaverse, on a lot of fronts, because even like right now with records, recording stereo is like black and white TV now. It's like you can't the new Apple, whatever the Apple has.
Dolby
you gotta have
immersive audio, that Dolby Atmos.
Yeah, but you've got to submit immersive audio now, not just stereo.
Right.
Yeah, and so I got a friend, Kamal, who I don't know, it's maybe about 6 months, a year ago now, but he had just mixed the sound for an award-winning documentary filmmaker, and they turned it into Netflix, and Netflix sent it back because they're not taking stereo anymore. You have to have surround mixes.
You have to have that.
Documentaries. So the standard is immersive audio now.
Wow.
See what I'm saying? And so record labels, they said everywhere, are scrambling to get all of their libraries immersive now. Like studios are booked up, they're just scrambling. So it's just neat to see there's a changing of affairs, and the platforms are pushing it to the next. I call it like the next prime number, So you might as well have fun and because you're thinking about your sound in a different way now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was down in Houston at Springboard Music Conference 2 weeks ago, and the brother I met down there, Danny Jones, is he's going to be on with us, but he has an Atmos studio, and I stepped into a brand new world, man. And this brother has the license from Al Green's catalog, and he's doing all Al Green stuff. That's going to come out in September, and it's just going to blow you away, man. I've never heard anything like that before.
Yeah, and that's what's up. The labels across the board are hiring people to create their music in a platform that can be played, because it has to be immersive now. Absolutely. So it's like stereos, like black and white used to be, you know what I mean? It's like,
it sounds like too, man. It sounds like, when you went from mono to stereo, or when you went from vinyl to CD, it's revolutionary.
Right. So now we're going from stereo to surround. Right. And so there's all kind of technology coming to support that. I was just at the NAMM show. The NAMM show is a big festival, a big convention in California, where all the companies come together. They're demonstrating the new stuff that's coming out. Yeah. And everybody was excited about this immersive audio that Sony is putting out. Sony's got the technology, and I got a demonstration where I'm sitting in a room, and there's a speaker over to my left, there's a speaker in the middle, speaker to the right, speaker in the back, middle, back to right, and they just tell me to point to the sound that I hear. So they do the white noise, I point there, do it in the back. Then they put these little antenna type thing. I think they got lasers measuring your ear. They measure your ear, and then they put headphones on top of that. And then they do the same thing, point to the sound. And you hear the same sound coming over there, but it's coming from the headphones. Wow. But it sounds like it's out there. And I was like, dude, that was like a magic trick right there. But that completes the metaverse now, to be able to go into a world and you're hearing the sounds out there.
Correct.
With headphones.
That is correct.
You know what I'm saying? So the whole thing was, they got it set up where you're going to be able to mix with 7.1, 12.1, whatever you need. You're going to be able to create that with headphones. Yeah. If you're not traveling with a whole bunch of speakers. Yeah. See what I'm saying? But it was just like magic. It was just like magic, man. I was like, man, it sounds like it's right out there.
What was the company? Was that Steven Slate with the VXL headphones?
All I know is it was Sony.
Okay, Sony. Okay.
Definitely Sony. It was like Sony 360 or something like that. They had a code where you can go, and a lot of engineers heard about it.
Yeah.
And it's gotten better.
Absolutely.
But it's gonna make the metaverse like a really, it's gonna complete what Apple's doing here. They're getting you into that world. Now it's gonna complete where you got that sound going all the way around.
Definitely.
It's just good. It's getting ready to complete on another level. We're going from black and white to the next color, And for me, that's exciting because I got a lot of classical music.
Mm-hmm.
See, I mean, I got music for clarinets and flutes and horns and percussion, and so that I can just take advantage of all of that.
Exactly right.
Sound coming from all different kind of places to tell the story, and then the brass swoosh, and like I got a place for all of that,
Absolutely.
Yeah. So for me, it's like you think like how Jimi Hendrix started with Electric Lady, where he built Electric Lady, a whole studio where he could play around with sound.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But still, that was just all stereo. It wasn't surround yet. But Jimi Hendrix would be going crazy right now. It'd be like, yo, we getting ready to build Electric Ladies too. That's to me the spirit of how we embrace all this stuff.
Definitely.
So what Fred is talking about, this is where the next trillionaires are coming from. It's from this kind of thinking. And what let me see, because what Fred is saying reminds me of this thing that I read from 19 Keys, right? So I want to read something that 19 Keys said. Let me see if I can find it. And he's talking about the metaverse.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and I like this because when we get into the metaverse and stuff, a lot of people are explaining it on a technical level. Even when I hear Gary Vaynerchuk talk, a lot of time it's still techie minded. You got to be techie, right? But this is the way when I hear Dame Dash talk about it, he's not talking in that techie language, like that in the know language. They're talking in a way that you start to get a sense of, oh, okay, something new is going down and no one's the expert of it yet. So 19 Key says, what gives non-fungible tokens or NFTs their value is this exclusivity, which makes the tokens, the NFT tokens, the new Rolex, the new Benz, people's status flex with this new digital piece where you're in a club with only 10,000 people. See what I'm saying? You're building a group of 1,000 fans or just 10,000 fans. So I'm saying you're giving them a status flex, right? He said the digital space is the new flex from followers to likes to token access to private membership. And NFTs will be widely used in the metaverse. And the metaverse is a digital space where we can interact, just like Fred Lane is saying, right? We can throw events, we can build buildings, we can hold space, we can build products, we can hold games. Everything we do in the real world is entering a virtual and digital space like Roblox, the game Roblox, and other digital interactive games. That's the metaverse. Like 92,000 plots of land in decentralized land. People are already buying and flipping property right now today because some spaces have more traffic than others. So if you put up a billboard, people are going to see it. Imagine if Jay-Z builds a home in the metaverse. What if I get a crib next to his? And anytime people come to Jay-Z's concert, they come next to my spot. So anytime you put up a video in that virtual space, that counts as a view. There will be more spaces built in the metaverse than can be built in the real world. Physical materials and resources are limited, but digital recreation is unlimited. So the marketplace of the metaverse is where a lot of billionaires and trillionaires are going to be coming from. And right now, nobody has a monopoly on it. No, ain't nobody figured it out yet, right? Nobody has a monopoly on it. You know how big that opportunity is for the biggest emerging marketplace in the world? That's about to pop off and nobody has a monopoly in it yet, right? Gary V, nobody got a monopoly in it yet, right? Nobody has went viral in the metaverse. Nobody is that central person where, yeah, I'm buying all your digital shirts. I'm buying all your digital this, that, and the third. Nobody is that person. That means the landscape is open wide. You understand me? That's 19 Keys thing. Every time he talk, he finished. You understand me? Right? Once you purchase digital property, you can start building on it. And he talks about his Black New World Order school and stuff. But I'm just saying, now that's the vibe. He's talking about the vibe of where the new billionaires and the trillionaires are coming from. It's going to be navigating this space. You know what I'm saying? Where nobody's in your way. There's no gatekeeper saying you got to be this or you got to do this kind of rap, or if you're in film, you got to put on a dress before you can be a Black superstar. You know what I mean? You got to do an album cover in pink or something like that. Nobody can tell you. If you want to do it, you do it, but not because somebody said that's the way you got to be a superstar.
That's right. It's a new standard. New standard.
Yeah, it's a new standard, and we don't even know what it is. Who's going viral?
We're still Wild West.
Who's going to come up with it? That thing. Yeah, we're still looking at it, right? So anyway, that to me, that's like, that gets you excited. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I guess because it's fair game, man. It's fair game, and you don't even have to be the biggest. All you need is your crew of 1,000, 5,000 people listen to your podcast, subscribing to your talk.
Exactly.
So it's actually doable for the common man. For the common person, is this model is doable. You start your podcast, you have your private whatever it is, and to me, it feels like it might raise the level of content that people put out, because you can put out content that you care about if it's not for free. If you have some content that's for free, but some content is like, yo, you know what I mean? You gotta want to be here to be here. You know what I'm saying? So I've got some content like that. While I'm hanging out with Billy Cobham, and we're just talking, and I never really just threw it out there on the internet yet, because I felt like there was a way that I could treat it like it was something special, Exactly. And so like there's a community, people getting ready to see me like rock with Billy Cobham, and like even right now I want to talk to him again, because everybody talks to Billy Cobham. He's a drum legend. He's the guy behind Dennis Chambers. Dennis Chambers is like a Jordan, and Billy Cobham was like Dr. J. You can't play like that unless you saw Dr. J. You can't play like Jordan, because you don't even think of basketball like that.
Exactly.
But Dennis Chambers is like that, and then after Dennis Chambers comes all these gospel top dudes. Like drumming is at a very high level, just like basketball is at a very high level, because everybody's trying to raise up to the Jordan standard.
That's correct.
He just set the standard so high that the whole level of the game is up. That's how drumming is. Yeah, the whole level of the game is up, man. So I want to talk to Billy, because I know Billy is composing classical music. That's how I want to talk to you, the composer, and look at the drum set as like a new piano, and how you're thinking about composition. See what I'm saying? So, but when I do that, it's like I feel like I want to have a following of people that's really into it. Like, if you're gonna pay $4.99 a month to stay in tune with what's going on. Yeah. See what I'm saying?
Definitely.
And that's why I love hearing Fred. I got a chance to see you out there in the metaverse, right? I was going to work on this new instrument. We didn't have a lot of time, but while we had some signal, we went out on the metaverse, man, and it was just real cool. It's real cool, and I think that what Apple is bringing to the game is just going to up the game. Yeah, I really think it's going to up the game.
And they're bringing the metaverse into the game Fortnite too. And that's a crazy audience. So you can throw your concerts in Fortnite. That's what I'm trying to figure out now, how to set up in there.
Yes, yeah. See that kind of that's new Berry Gordy type talk. What he's saying.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's the new Berry Gordy type talk. And I met an engineer who worked with Berry Gordy. He was a white dude, right? And he said Berry Gordy and them was so smart they could have ran the country. They could have ran the country. They were just organized. And this white dude was saying he grew up with a school teacher, and he's used to being the dumbest person in the room. So he likes being around smart people. And he said to get the job at Motown, he had to take an IQ test and do something else he had to pass. Wow. He had to do something and take an IQ test to be an engineer working for Motown.
Well, I can dig. One of my favorite documentaries and autobiographies is Berry Gordy's To Be Loved. And I think that it should be mandatory reading for every EntreMusician. I mean that because some people try to throw shade at Berry, but what he built, man, everything he touched was iconic. I mean, name an artist that's not an icon that didn't come out of the Motown school. It's impossible.
Right. And the thing that's the thing about the magic of it, I try to show when I'm teaching a lot of times, is even though you have your particular genre, you shouldn't get stuck in your genre, because a lot of times what makes the genre comes from outside the genre.
Right.
So you got Berry Gordy Jr. He used to be a jazz record store owner.
Yeah.
He started selling jazz records to start Motown and hired all the jazz musicians to play on all those records. And paid them more so they wouldn't play on other people's records.
That's
so you got all them killing jazz musicians that's fueling that. You don't think of that as a jazz movement, but that's jazz is lifting up that whole thing. Exactly. Same thing like with the Rolling Stones. They hire a jazz drummer to be their drummer because they want that American rock and roll, which just came out of Boogie Woogie through Little Richard.
Right.
So for rock and roll to know how to rock, you got to know how to swing first. Because Boogie Woogie's dun 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 dun. But by the time Little Richard got it, it was dun 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 dun, good God in this. And now it's starting to rock. It's starting to be headbanging, Boogie Woogie. So the Rolling Stones always knew they wanted a jazz drummer, because for rock to rock, it had to roll too. But the roll, it got to swing a little bit. So their drummer's a straight swing drummer. You hear about the drummer for the Doors. They're hanging out watching Coltrane and Elvin Jones in the New York jazz clubs, blown away. And the drummer said he was trying to do some of the stuff Elvin and push Jim Morrison the way Elvin was pushing Train. You know what I mean? Like they're feeding off of this stuff, right? Like the stuff is influencing each other. You got Donald Harrison, jazz saxophone player. He's mentoring Biggie, right? He's mentoring Biggie, Notorious B.I.G. Yeah, he said the dude was so talented. He said, I was grooming him to be a jazz musician. That's how talented he was. Wow. Right? But he's a hip hop dude. So he had him listening to the left hand of the jazz drummer. Because when you're playing jazz, he had Biggie listening to the left hand and making his rhymes be able to lock into that. And that's why Biggie's the most swingingest rapper. He swing harder than anybody because he's listening to the left hand of the jazz drummer. See what I'm saying? This is genres talking to each other. Yeah. So that's what I like about Kendrick Lamar. Because look at his crew. Everybody on his record is the new jazz cats coming up. Thundercats on bass. His brother Ronald Bruner is wicked jazz drummer. Yeah. You got Kamasi Washington's on the record. The dude that produced the record is, I talked to him on tour. He's playing keyboards and sax in Herbie Hancock's band. Wow. See what I'm saying? So they kind of got that where the genres are feeding each other, not at war with each other. Yeah. So we got to step around the people that want to make it like a war. So I'm saying that because a lot of times, if you talk to people like Branford or Wooten, they may go at odds and they looking down on hip hop, not understanding that hip hop is coming up the same trajectory that jazz did, where everybody's looking down on it, but then it comes and takes over the world, right? And there's an improvisation nature to hip hop too. It's improvising. Everything is there. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So once you understand that all the musics feed each other. They all feed each other. And that's a lot of times is the magic of your certain thing. It's because you got an influence over here and you're able to bring it in. It's like when I listen to Dave Matthews Band, right? Dave Matthews, he always liked bluegrass, right? So he got that little hee-haw thing in his sound. Got that fiddle, get that hee-haw type thing, and the Carter drops the funk on it. And it's just like, whoa, where are we going with this, right?
Absolutely. Right. Well, let me ask this question. What direction, you say the Wootens are coming back out, this year. What direction musically are you guys pulling from or trying?
Man, it's some super funky stuff. Super funky and, with a jazz touch to it, but super funky. Yeah. We got a super funky tune that's coming out, but it's going to be, we had meetings about this, right? And it's kind of like the meet strategically, right? We were saying like, we're talking about dropping the whole record. I was like, man, people are not listening to whole records, right? You got to drop it out. We just gonna do one at a time. We could drop out a whole thing with all this stuff, and ain't nobody gonna listen to the whole thing. But if we do a little bit at a time, they'll grow into the whole story. So what we're doing is going to be, we found a whole lot of material when we were kids, when Vic was like 10 or something, 9, 10, and we found 2 recordings worth of original music that we did.
Wow.
Some good songs. And my brother Rudy, the saxophone player, a lot of people know his name, but they haven't heard him play. And he's playing on these records, man. You're going to hear a saxophone player like you ain't heard before. See what I'm saying? Rudy was in the Charlie Parker and Coltrane. And he kind of put them together because he had an alto and he had a C melody, which was almost a tenor sax. You play it's in the key of C. And then he would play them together, 2 horns at a time, like Rashawn Roland Kirk. So his kind of 3 main saxophone players was Charlie Parker. You hear that in his style. You hear Coltrane in his style, and then you hear Rashawn Roland Kirk in his style, who played horn. So he was our horn section. So people are going to get a chance to hear Rudy, right? So we're going to be putting out a new song and an old song, and we're going to be doing that for a while. New song and like a 45. New, here's the new. That was then. This is now, and we're still doing it. Yeah, you know what I mean. And it seems like the moral to the story is like, we've outlasted a lot of that stuff that was trying to hold us back. You know what I'm saying? Like even the record you just held up earlier, Arista Records not even there no more.
It's true.
But we are.
Right.
Right? But we're still here. See what I'm saying? So that a lot of that is like, if you see us still here, you know you're not supposed to give up when it's your turn to get hit.
Come on.
Somebody's gonna bump you.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Somebody's gonna bump you, man. That's football. This is in the game. It's like Detroit Pistons playing basketball. They hit Michael Jordan so hard before he could win, man. You know what I mean? Yeah, people try to compare it. Man, the league was different, man. To win during that time, you were playing like Raiders football, man, to get to the basket, man. It's not like now where you can't touch nobody. So all you can do, you could just hit 3-pointers all day because can't nobody touch you. All you gotta do is make the shot, you know? So it's like we can learn from that. And so when it's your time to get hit, man, you just know I'm just getting going, man. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like Michael Jordan gotta get cut first so that he just comes back with so much smoke, boy. It's like ain't nobody gonna cut me again. That's what's happening on your journey, man. Absolutely. And so I just love it, man. I just love it right now. It's the music business, and the business is changing. So what Fred is talking about, man, to me, it's like I'm listening to the next Berry Gordy's, who's getting ready to launch the next Motown. That's right. If you do, you know the metaverse is gonna have something to do with it. Absolutely. Especially with Apple, they signaled they sent a smoke signal right there. You know what I mean? That was a smoke signal of the things. And I haven't watched the presentation, but our tour manager is a big Apple dude. And he said, man, they didn't put it out till they ready. He said, they just smoked the field. Because like Facebook is trying to come out with something, you know, where he said Facebook's not going to be able to keep up with what Apple just put out. Wow. So it's expensive now, but it's going to go down. You know, the early adopters are going to get it.
The adopters are always going to pay the premium.
Yeah, they're going to pay the premium and sort of pave the way. But then it's going to be, you know, another way to learn. So for me, it's like, man, I have a love for books and stuff. Like, I just like books, right? But we can already see that books can be an experience where you listen to the book, not just the audio book, but everyone in the book is a character, just like in the movie. Yes. An audio book full of the characters and a soundtrack.
Certainly.
For the book. Dude, that's a whole genre right there. You know, it's so sublime. That's a whole genre. And Gary Vaynerchuk kept talking about how audio is going to play a big role as like he said, radio is not dead, because audio, when people are working out, half the time they're not looking at the TV. They're working out, they're cleaning the house, they're doing other things, but they're listening to the audio. So audio books going to that level is like a thing. You know, this is how our minds are churning, right? Yeah. Like when 19 Keys said, ain't nobody dominated this space yet.
That's right.
Right? So we probably haven't thought our best thoughts yet. on how to dominate the space.
Exactly.
See what I'm saying?
Or at least be a major stakeholder, because of dominance. I think in the metaverse, dominance is not going to be the operative word, but it will be the tribal words. Like you said before, I got my 1,000, I got my 2,000, but it's not about dominance, you know.
Right.
Yeah. Because even competition ain't what it used to be. Because now you got a podcast.
Right.
There's no competition with me to do your podcast. I'm getting introduced to your audience.
Right.
You know what I mean? So even businessmen have had to learn that. Like,
right.
I'm not. It's not like I'm in competition with you.
That's
like
right.
my audience comes to watch your podcast, gets introduced to you. So this is win-win. The reason why I'm saying this is because we just got off tour and we were playing a club somewhere out in San Francisco, and just old school way. Everybody goes and does the some kind of podcast. It was a podcast or something we're supposed to do. But the deal was only they could play the podcast. We didn't have no rights to use the thing. They wanted all of it. And we were like, this don't make no sense. You know, our audience was bigger than theirs.
Right.
But they were still holding on to their little piece saying, no, we want it all. Right. And we went back and forth. They said, well, how dare you even question this? Everybody does this. I said, that's because everybody's not reading it, man. You know, the tea leaves, everything is changing. Everybody ain't going to keep doing that. Where you, just because you put up the microphones and do that, you get to own it in perpetuity. So already we're not going to play our new stuff.
Right.
We're already not going to do our best stuff.
Right.
You're saying that you own it all. How come we can't share it?
That's it.
They couldn't see that. They couldn't.
Cross-pollination.
That's what I'm saying, is like they were still thinking old school. They couldn't see how they would benefit if they let us have rights to play it too. See what I'm saying? Like it would drive more people. And I think between Vic and all of us, our audience was bigger than theirs. You see what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is, when we're talking about Fred Lane, Barry Gordy, this new thought, it's a new thought. Where it's not like this dog eat dog. I got my world and I ain't gonna share with you.
Right.
No, man. It's like, man, we spreading fire right here.
Absolutely.
I got a match. I give you a piece of my match. I didn't lose no fire, man.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? The fire just multiplied.
Yep.
That's the philosophy. This is the world that we're moving into.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's another philosophy. And that was just a case where, wow, we just bumped into like some old world philosophy. And they were just like, how dare you even question our contract? This Chick Corea, everybody did this. You know what I mean? But that's the old days, man.
Exactly right.
That's the old days where they had managers and stuff doing all their reading for them.
That's it.
You know, and you just doing it, you know, to sell the tickets. And the thing was, we kind of needed to do that show because the tickets hadn't sold out yet.
I see.
So when you do that, it kind of raises some more awareness. So you kind of need to do it. But we ended up not doing it, and we sold out. We still sold out, but that was the thing. You know, it's like you do their show, and it helps to finish selling out a multi-night thing,
like a stepping stone, so to speak.
Yeah, it's like a promotion thing. So they're promoting, and their thing was they're setting up the microphones, they're doing all of that. So they wanted to own it, and we don't have no right to play it. You know, it's like
that's.
So I'm saying there's new thought that's going on now. And I just keep hearing 19 keys. You know, I like when somebody can break it down simple without it being all techie. You know what I mean? NFTs, all these technical terms. No, he said, this is a new space right here. And this is going to be a space where people can flex. People that come to your community, whatever tokens or gifts you give them, they can flex that. That's what an NFT is a limited special pass that only so many people got that they can flex. They can flex it so hard, they can sell it for more, you know? And nobody's dominating the space yet.
Definitely.
Yeah. I just think, I really believe that the ideas, we haven't seen the best ideas yet. Right? And you haven't thought your best ideas yet.
Agree.
You know, I think.
Well, we got some OGs on here that's been in the game a long time. Daryl Alexander, Clarence Hards, Nathaniel, Chris. You know, if you guys have any questions, man, you want to take advantage of the knowledge and the resources that are out here with Brother Royal. So, you can unmute yourself and speak now, the floor is open.
No, I just want to say thank you, Roy, for bringing it home. And it's, it's a new world for everybody.
Yes. Yeah.
With the minimal cost level, but you just got to dig in and do the work as we see.
Yeah.
But they had Herbie Hancock in Cleveland, and Herbie has always been there with the technology.
Yeah.
And his show now is just even better, and it just amazed me how somebody of that age is still, at home with technology and bringing people with him.
Yeah. There's a bass player friend of ours that plays bass with him, James Genus. He's the bass player with Herbie, and I believe that he's still using that saxophone keyboard player who produced Kendrick Lamar's Pulitzer Prize winning record. Yeah, and it's nice with Herbie, But I remember when Spotify and stuff was coming, there were people coming to Herbie saying, "We need you to have music that you own, not through a label. So is your label deal over? Is there stuff that you can do that's not the label's going to get the first cut of it?" See what I'm saying? We're moving from a time where the label used to be the flex.
Yeah. All in, end all,
Right.
Yeah, people would say, "I just got signed." You know what I mean? Now if you say that, boy, I just like my stomach. Ooh.
I know,
like
right?
If somebody came to me, if I see a
cringe.
talent, like right now, if there's a talented singer and she said, "I just got signed by Beyonce," now that sounds like I'm supposed to get excited, right? They're gonna get excited, but I'm telling you, there ain't nothing gonna happen with her career.
Correct.
Nothing's gonna. That's a hard story to sell, but there's nothing gonna happen because you're not gonna challenge Queen Bee.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times they're signing you to swallow you.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a hard lesson to tell somebody, man.
So check this out. There were underpinnings of this that was happening in the 80s. I watched 2 documentaries that really floored me that this stuff was happening way back in the day. First and foremost, there was the Parliament Funkadelic documentary, and how as George was building up Uncle Jam Records, really, the brides of Funkenstein in some points were outpacing him, or outpacing what he wanted Funkadelic to do. So boom, that just got squashed, and the brides were no more on the charts. And then I just watched the documentary with Roger and Zapp, and what the inner tensions was. Obviously, the situation ended tragically, but Roger was outpacing Zapp, and they were, because he was getting hired by all the rappers and whatnot out there. And so the Zapp band, even though they're brothers, kind of had a problem with he's getting the royalty statements. They have the sound, but he's got a monopoly on that talk box. And Tupac is not calling Zapp; they're calling Roger. So the little inner tensions that were going on, it's just amazing. And this is DNA, craziness, right?
Yeah. So and this is what we're navigating now. And but this is a serious subject, man. So it's like. Yeah, well, man, I don't even know if I should go here, man, but it's like.
If anybody's gonna go there, this is gonna be the place to do.
But it's kind of like when you look at like these hip hop moguls, like a Puffy, right? And they say whoever Puffy signs, they go up, and then once they pass away or they're no longer, he has the big interest of their publishing.
Absolutely.
So a lot of times it's like a good life insurance. You got to be careful, man, because sometimes you get this life insurance. It's kind of like, I'll say it like this: Chaka Khan used to be out of control, right? Drunk all the time. We opened for her when we were Kashif, and there was somebody like in the pit, walking wherever she walked so that she don't fall off the stage.
Whoa!
And finally, what got her sober was her manager said, "Look, you're worth more to us dead than alive. Wow. We're gonna make more money off of your publishing."
Wow.
You know what I mean? And that just woke her up, right? So we got to look at this, man, because it's like, man,
that's right.
Like the way Whitney Houston died. Now, I don't want to be a Sherlock Holmes here, but there's a lot of people that have a vested interest in her music in perpetuity.
Absolutely.
With her not here.
That's absolutely right.
And with her here. And so I'm hearing the documentary. They said, man, she died in the tub, face down. She had bruises. There was a struggle. I'm just going like, wow, man. You know, when she died, they still had the party. They didn't even mourn her thing. It was just business, man.
The party was downstairs. Boom.
Right. So I'm just saying, wow, this business thing is really like you really go with your eyes open. You know, when I talked to George Clinton, he said they expect him to be high, but now he's trying to get his business straight.
That's correct.
Go for what's owed to him. So to me, I feel like the way our heroes and stuff in the music business was experts in doing drugs and experts in blowing their minds out. Charlie Parker's OD and da. I think we're in an age where we're gonna see artists that are mastering superfoods.
That's what's up.
Vitamins. You know what I'm saying? It's like super
living,
superfoods, super thinking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just
healthy lifestyle.
redefining the world. Huh?
Yep. Healthy lifestyle. And
but with the same passion that they're going to the drugs and stuff, like it should be like enlightening, I mean, it's ayahuasca and superfoods, like what Olympics would take. Because I really believe that in the Olympics, you're going to see people that are going to do extraordinary things, not because of steroids and stuff, but because the natural stuff that nature already puts in the foods. And knowing how to put these combinations together. Like, why is an 8 that strong eating bananas, man? It's like, what's up? You know what I mean? Like, we're going to learn what nature knows. And you know what I mean? Like some people are intermittent fasting because, when the digestion does its stuff one time, you're seeing people being able to lift harder and stuff. And I believe we're going to see health breakthroughs the way the past always went, drug breakthroughs, or breakdowns. You know what I'm saying? I just think that there's a different thing, and when the Bible talks about without vision, the people perish.
That's correct.
And so when we have all this new technology, it's vision. What are we going to do with it?
That's right.
What are we going to do with it?
Well, kind of to dovetail, if we could, along all of that line of thinking and everything and the stuff that you were mentioning as far as like the business side of everything, what I would like to hear, if you are so willing to share, what is your take or how do you handle the administrative side of being Roy Wooten and the musician and entrepreneur? How do you, what's your perspective?
Yeah, man, I'm always just trying to get organized and having the right people around me. Like right now, I'm working on a lot of paperwork. I've got some back tax stuff that I'm working on. It's just being organized, like my camp being organized. Because as a musician, I'm kind of abstract. So I got to know my weakness. And I've got to associate with people who can keep things in line. So that's the big answer. So like I'm just working on this new instrument right here. This is a new drum guitar, brand new instrument. Been working on for 2 years.
Nice.
Right? It used to be when I held this up, there was nothing on the inside, but the inside is full with electronics now.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah, this thing works now. And we still got more. These pads that you see are live. These are live. This is the drum stuff. And this right here is going to be all lined with pads.
Wow.
For a right keyboard and a left keyboard. Because I'm going to take the drums way into the melody. I'm going to be able to play the drums like Paganini, like a melody. I want to be able to do a drum concerto where the drums are playing melody and stuff, like going to the next thing. Right, but to do this, I didn't do this myself. See what I'm saying? Like I associated, there's a guy that worked with Zen Drum, and I showed him the drawing, and I've worked with him a long time, so he's able to take my ideas and flesh it out. Like I got the drawing, even with the way this neck went, I thought the neck was gonna plug into here different. The way he has it plugged in is a whole different thing. It really works, right? We had a little difference of artistic difference on this little F hole right here.
Okay.
When he was doing the F hole, we had a mock one and it was light in color. And I was like, I really like the light. Maybe the light works. Like if it was this color, it would work. And so I just didn't know whether I wanted it light or dark. So he made one that was light and dark. It was striped. I was like, no, man, no. He said, but you said you wanted, I was like, no, man. So we just had to get, I was like, man, no. Because when he striped it, I was like, no, I would never say that, right? But I wasn't clear. I didn't give him a definite answer. So it ended up being both. Right. And I thought that you wouldn't plug it up until at least I see it. It was in there. So it was like, whoa, we had to navigate, like, you know.
Okay.
It's something that, Jared, that we talked about in we have a mastermind class where we're going through the 21 laws of Jordan Maxwell. And we were talking about leadership, right? And so what it came down to, at the end of the day, I found out how much work it was to get this thing in there, right? And it was like, I didn't want to come off like he was saying, look, I got a vested interest in this too, man. We've been working on this. And when I stepped back, I had the final say, but I gave him the final say. I said, look, man, we've been working a long time. It can't come down to an F-hole. I'm trying to make the thing work. I'm going to leave it to you. You know, at the end of the day, I have enough respect for you that if you think that this is what it's got to be, I'm not going to touch it. See, for me, I was thinking about putting mother of pearl. I was thinking of doing all kind of stuff. But this meant a lot to him. And I respected that it meant a lot to him. So I said, look, at the end of the day, you know, we did say that we could do it all orange and we could kind of make it like where you couldn't see it, right? And so, but I was taking leadership not to win, right? I wanted to keep what we had together. So I wasn't trying to be right? And I didn't want him to feel like he said something about, you don't always have to get your way or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't want to come up like, this is my thing and I'm right?
Yeah.
Because I know I can't produce this by myself.
I understand.
And at the end of the day, it's my idea, right? And I know what's wrong and right and wrong. I know that wasn't right. I would never say two colors. I would never do that, man. Right? But we had to navigate that with respect. At the end of the day, it was like, dude, I got so much respect for what we've done and what we're going to do that I'll leave it to you. We can make it the same color. And if it's too much, because he didn't know if he could take it out and put it back in again. But before I knew it, he said he was doing it. You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't because I forced him to do it.
I understand.
Like, I really backed up and he felt the respect that I had. That, you know, you're the guy, right? So I know that I can't do this on myself, right? And then when I finished with this, we got a whole back, the inside of electronics up inside of here.
Yes, to work on.
It's a lot of work, man, and I just can't do that. But this guy could see what I'm trying to do.
Yes.
And he can give me 3 different options for getting it done, man. And it's just like, whoa, man. So this
it's seriously fun.
It's game on, right? So the same thing. I think the moral of the story is you align yourself. It's like you're building a team.
Yes.
You really build a team. You're gonna try to do a film. You're not gonna do it all yourself. You're gonna have a team of people.
Yes.
I just met a guy who's teaching at Belmont now, and he is an assistant to Hans Zimmer.
Wow.
Yeah, the film director, man. He's an assistant to Hans Zimmer. Ghostwrited for him. Does his MIDI mock-ups, everything. Still working with him. You know? And it was just like, wow, man. Again, like he's saying, Hans Zimmer doesn't do all those scores without a team. He's not writing every single note. He creates the suite for the movie. And from that suite, you pull out all the parts. He has other writers. They pull out the parts to finish the movies.
Wow.
But he has the core of what this movie is. You know what I'm saying? So it's all teamwork, man. So that's what's happening here to create this. You know, it's like it's a mini thing. And at the end of the day, with leadership that we talked about in our master class, there was a time where I had to. Sometimes to go fast, you got to go slow. You got to back up, right? Like I'm not getting ready to press this dude with the authority that I have on this project. Like, dude, I draw this thing. I know what it's supposed to be, right? But I'm not coming at it like that, because what it means to be human is this whole thing, man. And at the end of the day, I would rather not have a bad feeling, and maybe I might not be as happy with the thing, but I just wanted him to know that I respect his opinion, and I'm not trying to step over that. And I learned how hard it was for him to do that. You know, so I'm just trying to grow wise like that. You know, there's a lot of wisdom stepping in there. You know, to step back for a minute, take a deep breath. You don't gotta win right now, because there's a coach that said sometimes when you win, you lose.
Actually lose.
And sometimes when you lose, you actually win. This is Coach Wooten. Coach
Yeah.
Wooten, UCLA.
Yeah.
And in that situation, I can see it, man. Sometimes you gotta lose the art. You gotta step back.
Yep.
And then let the person, it's on them now. Like, okay, what is the most righteous thing to do? I'm gonna leave it to you, you know. Sometimes you gotta, sometimes he said, Coach Wooden said, sometimes when you win, you actually lost.
That's true.
And sometimes when you lose, you actually won.
Yep.
And that's some Yoda talk right there. Right? But situations will come up that, like in relationships, I think.
Yeah.
You know, when someone doesn't understand and you don't understand them, and you're not trying to just win just because you can. Because really on this, I got the last word. I'm like, yo, man, nobody's gonna have the last word on this except me, right? But that's not how I came at it.
Yeah.
I knew in order to get this thing done, really, and to feel right about it after all of these years, hammering it home, which I could have done, I didn't want to do it like that. And that was some wisdom almost beyond my years. I said, let me back up now. Let me just back up. Back up on the leadership thing, you know, and hand it over.
Definitely.
So yeah.
Well, Terry, Nanad, you know, Clarence, anybody, you know, any more questions for Royal?
Hey, Jerry.
Go ahead, Chris.
Hey, only thing I want to say, I did invite one of my turn my video on. One of my guys I play with often. He's a drummer.
Nice.
Will Greenwade.
Yeah, good.
If he's on right now, if he can unmute, he might have a question. But when we got to talking, I invited him to join us.
Welcome.
Nice.
Welcome,
What's
Will.
up? What's up, Will? Yeah. Nice.
I see him.
How you doing? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just, you know, Chris invited me, and let me do my video. So I won't be. See if this is gonna work out.
Come on, Will.
Oh, okay. Anyway, something's going on with the video.
All good.
But anyway, I'm here. Audio. Yeah, all these subjects that you're going through. You know, I kind of came in late on the information, and I don't know if you already covered this, but you know, all the new ways that we can record and everything. How do you approach getting your music, the distribution part of it? I know it's different now. I'm speaking kind of like in old terms. You know, you get your music out and you distribute it and put it in stores. That's a totally different thing now. But you do have like the satellite
streaming.
You know, the streaming, and you got the music choice and stuff like that. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, I talked about it a little bit because right now in streaming, you want to position yourself to be your label. Because if you sign with a label in a lot of the streaming platforms like Spotify, the labels get almost like 40%, right? And then Spotify gets maybe 30%. They get the label and Spotify are in bed together. They get the lion's share. Then whoever wrote the music, they get this much. So you want to position yourself to be able to produce it yourself so that you're the label. Because if somebody else is the label, they're going to get the lion's share. So that is the vision that you're trying to step into the arena so that you can make something. So that is why you'll see a lot of these big groups, and they'll have the biggest song of the year, like what's his name? That had the happy song. Pharrell?
Pharrell.
He's talking about how little money he made, but he was signed to a major label. Yeah. See, that major label and Spotify walked away with the lion's share of everything that was being made in streaming world.
Correct.
So now we got to become wise as the serpent and say, oh, okay, to win this game, you've got to now become the label. So now you just increase your cut of what's going to happen. That's the main thing. As you approach these streaming platforms, to begin to get the lion's share of what you're owed, you need to have some ownership into your stuff. You signed to a label, and so what I was saying is, see, it used to be the flex was I got signed. You know, I'm signed by so and so. But now it's like from a business standpoint, when somebody says that, you know, they're not in the streaming world. They're not getting paid from the sale of music.
Exactly right.
Yeah, so I it wasn't too long ago I heard somebody, they were gonna produce Herbie Hancock or something, but they said we need you to do songs that you own, that it's not from the record label, that you own, so that when we put this out, you get your share of what's owed to you. So now we're coming to the game with a little wider vision. See what I'm saying? It's a little bit wider vision. Like George Clinton said, he's getting off drugs now, so he's trying to recoup all the stuff that's owed to him that wasn't paid to him.
Right.
And we're trying to enter this playing field, in such a way that we have ownership of what we're doing. This is what Prince and them fighting about. He writing slave on his face, because the way the record companies go is they front the money for you to make the record. Now, what Prince was arguing, he said, I paid back that money.
That's correct.
He said, I made millions of dollars. I paid back that loan.
That's correct.
I should be able to have some ownership now. They said, like, you signed this. He said, yeah, but that don't make it right, man. You fronted the money. I paid you back the money, and I don't get any ownership of what I created.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? That's like buying a house and you never get to own the house, and you paid the house over many times over.
Exactly right.
See what I'm saying? So they're fighting this same, everyone's kind of fighting this same kind of thing of being smart about what you're producing and what you're able to own. So you just basically, I'm saying you're trying to be wise now about how the game is played. Because with streaming, in a lot of these platforms, the content creators are getting left out. See what I'm saying? Like if you take something like TikTok or something like that, people can copy your stuff, and the person that came up with the original TikTok getting copied, and they get more views than the person that came up with the thing. So you're just trying to position your stuff in such a way that you have some ownership. That's my biggest thing, and that's the biggest why. Because if you play it smart, it's not like you have to sell millions to 1 million people now. You're just trying to build a tribe of 1,000 to 5,000 people, maybe 10,000 people that's going to subscribe to you on a monthly basis, like $4.99, and you're already like free,
Right.
And so you're just trying to do that. So now we're thinking about different ways of thinking about your process. And so what I did say earlier too, if you were signed to a major label, then I would encourage you, and I got this from Gary Vaynerchuk. He was saying an artist could put out a series of records that was like a ongoing special about the process of making the record. You know what I mean? Like you're just keeping a diary about how you wrote the song, why you came up with this, how the studio went today, and you're just keeping a diary, and you're putting that out on Spotify.
Right.
And that would be something that you could have ownership to. See what I'm saying? Even like with the video, it's kind of like everything is about being smart. It's like me and my brothers, right? We did a Christmas special, a holiday special, and in the holiday special, we got some tunes that are not our tune. So the whole video is just for YouTube to make money, because we can't make money on it unless we play the writers and stuff. So YouTube is just pumping commercials on that. That thing's getting all kind of views. But we could be smart and pull out the original stuff and put those things out, and start benefiting from the stuff that we did. So I think everything is like that, and I hope that helps. Everything is being wise now on how you're going to make your step. Without vision, the people perish. So now you just want to have vision. What is my vision on how I'm going to get the interest in my song? What is the story of my song? See what I'm saying? A lot of times you put a record out, there is some type of central theme. Can I share that with people and resonate with people? Resonate with my tribe of 1,000 people, my 1,000 to 5,000 fans that want to hear from me and how I'm getting through, to the next thing, what I'm doing next, what I'm building here, and how I reward them for that. This to me is the new thinking. And this is what there was a guy who was Fred Lane. He's out there on the metaverse. I'm saying where he's at, this is where the new Berry Gordys are going to come from. The new trillionaires, like, did you hear me talking about 19 Keys?
Yep.
Right? Yeah.
Will did.
Okay. But this is where it's the next biggest emerging marketplace is the metaverse. You know what I mean? And nobody's dominated. Nobody is that central person. Nobody is the Michael Jackson of the metaverse. Nobody is the superstar of the metaverse right now. So it's all bets off on how we're going to navigate that space, what we're going to do with it. And so, you know, like if I was teaching a class, man, we need to be seeing what Apple just introduced to the game. Because they just came out with the goggles that might become the standard way that we interact in this other world. See what I'm saying? Like it's not the watch, it's not the iPad, it's not the watch, it's the goggles. You know what I mean?
I saw that. Yeah, they're asking, was it worth the investment? I think those things are going for like $3,000 or something like that.
Yeah, but again, I remember buying an Apple monitor. It wasn't but this big. It was slick, but it was like $3,500, man. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. We're just in the first days. That's all. Okay. Where the early adopters are going to flex. You know what I mean? Right. But the early adopters, everything's going to come down because Apple. I have a road manager that's really into Apple. And he said, man, they nailed it. He said they just killed it with these goggles. So you know, it's heads up. Pay attention. You know how do I work? How do I work with this in the future? You know what I mean? How do I, even when you're working on your record, now artists should already be thinking in terms of like, how do I want the sounds to move? You know, if I got a Celeste or something, do I want it to sling through the air? Because it's immersive mixing now. You know, it used to be just be mono, one speaker. Now we're getting ready. We're in stereo, and now stereo is not going to be the standard. Stereo is going to be like black and white TV. The new Apple playlists are not accepting stereo mixes anymore. See what I'm saying? This affects your record.
Wow.
This affects you because it's like you got to be even more creative about how you're going to create your sound that's immersive. See what I'm saying?
So I mean,
the standard is there now.
So how do you get educated on that? Is this like just a Googleable thing?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, you just got to get into it, man. You know what I'm saying? Okay. It's like, and it's imagination. You know,
I got another answer though. You can join the EntreMusician.
There you go.
Okay.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because you get with community of people that's talking about this stuff. See, right. But it's already, you just know when you listen to your music. Now people are mixing left and right, mastering left and right. But now the whole thing, you're mastering all the way around. Exactly. Top, bottom, and backwards and everything. So that's just opening it up. If you got dialogue, maybe the dialogue, like if Michael Jackson was doing, like they're gonna have to remix Thriller.
Oh yeah.
Ghouls and gals in search of blood to terrorize y'all's neighborhood. See what I'm saying? Now that voices don't have to be just left and right. Right. It's like, woo, the werewolf is over there. It's like they're putting you in that world, man.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's going to be someone's niche is going to be, you know, just like you go to a mixer who can get that sound. This dude can take my record and just give it the sound. There's going to be people that's going to be their niche. They're going to have a feeling for that sound. You know what I'm saying? So all I'm saying, like all of these possibilities are coming, and the idea that you haven't even thought your best thought yet is what I'm trying to say. Your best thoughts might not even happen yet because you don't even know what you're capable of. Yeah. See what I'm saying? And you know, to me, this is gonna be for sports and everything.
Wow.
Because my road manager, he said, yeah, man, you put the goggles on, they got the screen. So it's like he said, you're sitting in the theater, but then you could click it and you can make the screen big. You can make it big like an IMAX, and then you can make the screen fill up the whole sky. You know what I mean? He said it feels like you're just watching this gigantic picture, you know? So,
wow.
Yeah. You know, imagine, experiencing a book like that or something, or education even. You know, it's our best ideas are probably still on the horizon on how we deal with all of this. And that's why I keep saying with Berry Gordy, and the way that they were thinking, how they were thinking kind of on a genius level, the way they were doing it. And on that genius level, I was saying that we want to feed from different genres, let different genres feed what it is that we're doing. So we need to be able to already see how jazz was feeding Motown, right? Berry Gordy was a jazz record store owner, and he hired all jazz musicians to play on that Motown stuff. And this white engineer that engineered for Berry Gordy told me that Berry Gordy the reason he didn't want to do Let's Get It On wasn't because of the political stuff. He said it was because it was so jazzy.
Mm-hmm.
But is it, no, what's the one? What's going on?
What's
That's
going
the one. Yeah, what's going on?
What?
Yeah, what's going on? He said it wasn't the political nature. He said the track was so jazzy, his jazz ears liked it. So he didn't think it was commercial.
Right.
He thought it was too jazzy.
The pop sensibility was
Yeah,
not
for pop sensibility, because his jazz ears liked it.
Yeah.
So he was like, no, we can't go. That's what he said was the story why Berry Gordy didn't want to go with that one. I was like, oh, that's interesting. You know what I mean? But basically, jazz is feeding that. And I was talking about how the Rolling Stones get a jazz drummer. You got Donald Harrison is working with Notorious B.I.G. and he's feeding the left hand of the jazz drummer is what he had Biggie emulating. The left hand of a jazz drummer. That's where all the syncopation is. You know, and so even now when you listen to Biggie, his stuff is just swinging so hard. See what I'm saying? This is genres feeding each other. Right. And we want to be able to think in terms like that. You know, right. I just heard the drummer for Nirvana. He heads the Foo Fighters now. He plays guitar, but he was the drummer for Nirvana. And he said that lick that he's doing, that lick comes from like the Gap Band.
Yeah.
He said he's biting on the Gap Band lick, the drummer from the Gap Band.
Right.
You know?
Ray Calhoun.
Yeah.
Ray Calhoun.
Yeah. You know the story.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I interviewed Ray, and I'll put the link in the chat box. But you know, I saw Charlie Wilson on Tiny Desk, you know, singing "Outstanding." And I'm going, go ahead, Ray, because Ray is finally, after 40 years, getting his royalties for writing the song, actually writing the song.
Nice.
Yeah. So we talked about that. That was
nice. Yeah, that's great. That's great.
But
so man.
Just for a time check, you know, I don't want to take advantage of your time. We talked about 7:30, man. If you got time to hang around, I want to make sure that everybody who has had a question for you is able to have it answered. So if there's anybody who has not had an opportunity to ask a question directly of Roy, then by all means do so. And Roy, you can stick around as long as you want, or you can cut out.
No, you said that you got people that's got music, right?
Yeah, 7:30. We usually do the listening party. It's 7:30 or so now, but that's how come I wanted to make sure that everybody who needed to vibe with you had that opportunity. And once again, we just want to appreciate this brother for the time that he's given us on tonight. So man, thank you, brother.
You're very welcome. And I just think now is a time of planting flags. Like you're making a statement of how things are going to be done. And as people can come out the gates a whole nother way. That's what excites me about NFTs, because it's like non-fungible tokens. You're making one-off. You're making souvenirs. And there's only so many of them. And that you can create economy around that souvenir that can work just like Bitcoin. You know, like there's only so many. So because it's limited, it creates little treasure pieces. And it's like a baseball card. They're not all worth that, but if you perform, your baseball card performs. So it's incentive for you to get your game together. You know what I mean? Because it's like, here's a piece of cardboard, Michael Jordan. Here's a piece of cardboard, Scrub. This one's still worth money because of what's on there and what the brand that it really represents. So you're thinking in terms of creating something that's going to last over time. And I've always loved this book called Perennial Seller. Yeah, do I have it back here? It's called Perennial Seller. How do we make things that last over time? Why do some things happen and some things disappear? And even if you don't get the book, you can Google the book and just read the flap of the book. Flap of the book is inspiring. Perennial Seller. How do we make works that last over time? See what I'm saying? Like if you see Star Wars, their kids are gonna watch the early movies, and they're gonna grow up and learn about the Force. Like Bela, the banjo guy, his son is watching Star Wars. He's drawing the lightsaber by memory, drawing the inside of the lightsaber, how it works and stuff. You know what I mean? This is making works of art that last over time. You know what I'm saying? And for me, especially Black artists, we can think of these terms, right? Because like right now, I'm seeing a lot of art that's been co-opted by business to make a form of hip hop that goes and attacks their own people. You know what I mean? It's like you attack the women. It all of a sudden went from talking about everything to talking about what's in the streets, what's at the lowest of the low.
Right,
and it's been co-opted. And it's like, yeah, it's like everybody's got a beef with everybody. And it's just like, it don't gotta aim like that.
Right.
See what I'm saying? I've said that for a long time. So by the time Hamilton came out, Hamilton is doing something I've been doing. I've been using hip hop and classical music to narrate. So when Hamilton came out, I had already been doing that. So people calling me up and said, that's what you were talking about. I said, yeah, because the spoken word can talk about anything and be popular. So here's Hamilton, the #1 Broadway play. They're rapping about Hamilton. He's not even the main president. I don't even know if he is a president. See what I'm saying? He's not the main guy. It should be Jefferson. It should be Washington. It should be Franklin. You know what I mean? But Hamilton, you know what I mean? Now, when we get into it, Hamilton started the Federal Reserve. So he is kind of a major guy that, you know, governments like that Federal Reserve where we get to own the money and your country don't own the money. Yeah. So he is a main guy to the governments, right? But what I'm saying is hip hop make you care about something that you wouldn't care about. They can talk about history, make you know history. This is the power of hip hop. You know what I mean? So to get companies that make you just talk about this and make you go down to feed private prisons, you know what I mean? It's like, yo, man.
You're correct.
Woo. We still got some ways to go, man.
Absolutely.
We got some ways. It's like you don't understand the power. In the beginning was the word. So you standing on the strongest thing there is. Words and swords is the same subject. The clash of swords and the clash of tongues is the same thing. You know what I mean? Right. And so that's why you're seeing a music that even not even at its best can take over the world.
Yep. Right.
You need to think about that. You know what I'm saying? Look at all the billionaires coming out of this.
Yeah, man.
It's not even at its best yet.
Right.
You know? Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, that's the spirit of the thing, you know. I think
that is knowledge. Was that everybody's cool? Everybody's cool. This was love right here. This was wisdom. This was knowledge. This is practical resources that we can apply to our careers without fail. You know, if you hear what is actually being implied along with the words that he's using.
Yeah. And it's just, you know, again, knowing that your art has the power to change the world more than politics, everything. So a lot of times I'll ask kids, I ask them how many people, it doesn't matter what the age, how many people have heard of Mozart. You could be the youngest crowd, they all heard of Mozart. I was like, now how many people out there can tell me who was the president or who was the king during Mozart's time? And don't nobody raise their hand, right? Right? Every once in a while, there'll be a professor that knew who the king was, right? And I said, but who can you tell me anything that king said that's relevant to today? Can you even remember, right? But yet Mozart's birthday is celebrated every year. As we speak, there's an orchestra playing this music right now. So you, on a scale of importance, here's art that's surviving over time, where you don't even remember the king. So I'm saying now we get distracted by the politicians and make you forget to write what you're supposed to write artistically wise. Now your art is like a gift. And you know what I'm saying? You can write something that's going to change generations down the road. That's what you're standing on. What you're standing on is stronger than what we're seeing on the news. Exactly. And every great civilization has had great artists or great art to give them a guiding post. See what I'm saying? And I just have people just don't forget that. Because the king during his time thought he was the one, and Mozart's nobody, buried in an unmarked grave. But people remember Mozart and don't remember the king. That's your art. That's what you're standing on, right? That's your so you put vision to that, and you can change everything. So it's like when I'm thinking about how are we planting new flags, the way I'm thinking about the drums, you know what I mean? I'm thinking about the drums a whole different way. Yeah. When Martin, you talk about marching to the beat of a different drummer. Yeah, I'm marching to a different beat. Right. You know, I'm marching to a different beat. We're planting flags that we haven't seen yet. That's right. Know, and we're trying to show what is the way forward. To me, I'm like, what does a record of the year really look like? Not just to win the Grammy, but what does it represent? You know, how does a record of the year really like move like the needle? You know, that type of thing. So that's why a lot of times I'm writing classical music, because it's epic. It's like soundtracks. You know what I mean? When you hear these soundtracks, man, you know, like working out, the soundtracks. I'm just hearing that sound because I'm working on scripts and stuff, you know? And just like Michael Jackson, when I see music videos or I see music presentations live on stage, hip hop artists, they have all of these visuals and stuff, but I never see a story. You know what I mean? I never go to a concert. I just see all this abstract stuff. Just like when MTV first came out. It's just videos ain't making no sense, right? And then Michael Jackson said, I just want to see a story with a beginning, middle, and end, right? And then, wow, man, he come up with these videos, man. You come watching his videos like you're going to see a new movie, you know? A lot of time the song is just, but by the time he finishes the video, you're like, oh, I got it, okay. You know, like Thriller, because this is Thriller, Thriller. I ain't so excited about that tune. I'm not tripping on seeing goblins and goons. Like that's your thing, right? But by the time he finished that movie, man, I went to the family reunion and everybody was doing the dance. Everybody had the routine. You know what I mean? Like he sold his idea. Right.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
He was the king of that, but he did the most expensive one, which was called Scream, and that was $7 million.
Yes, right. Right. So I'm looking at that. These are plants on flag because even I feel like I can tell better stories than that. You know what I mean? $7 million, that's not so much for a short film. So I'm trying to put a short film idea with music, you know, which is like opera. You know what I mean? How do we exceed where it's been before? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, what if you just really saw a story that's compelling? You know what I mean? And that generations want to keep seeing it, like Star Wars. They want to keep seeing it. Princess Bride. You know what I mean? These stories, they just keep going, man. They said Shawshank Redemption. They didn't even do that well in the box office, but they just eternally there. I'm thinking of the story like that. Right. You know what I mean? That type of thing. So, you know, because we're planting flags, you know what I'm saying? Like Muhammad Ali, we planting flags, man. Right. Yeah.
That's absolutely.
So, yeah. Perennial Seller. That's a great book. I've got it back there somewhere.
Thanks, Daryl, for putting that in the chat for us, man, for Amazon. So, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Great book. Even if you don't got time to read it, look it up and read the flap of the book. You just read the flap of the book and you learning something.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
Well, Terry, we love you. Thank you, all of you who stuck around. Some people are dropping out, but we're gonna switch over to our. I'm gonna share the sound, and we've got four songs that have come in already. So you know, we'll go there now. Is that cool?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah, I'm gonna grab some water and I'll be right back.
My brother.
I'll be right back.
All right, let's
make sure original sound for musicians is switched on.
Right.
Okay.
All right. I think we are right on point with that. Of course, we'll find out in a couple seconds, won't we?
You're listening to the hits that keep on coming.
Thank you, Nathaniel. Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's not a final mix. I just finished it today, and it's not final mix and no mastering, but it's there. So, and just a question: how about the female vocals?
I like the female vocals. I think that was on point.
Yeah, okay, because that was me also.
Yeah, that really fits in. It really makes the vibe,
Yeah.
I sang those vocals also, so that's
Okay,
why.
Okay.
That's why I'm asking. So, do you notice that's me, or it can pass as a female?
I didn't know.
You got me.
Yeah, I didn't know either.
Okay, so thank you. I did it today.
I'm curious, where did all that orchestration come from?
I did it.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I'm doing all the stuff myself at my home studio, from from the song making to arrangements.
That was impressive.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. It means much to me. Really.
Yeah, it's funny when you study Motown. I had this one young writer. I said, listen to the orchestration. A lot of those tunes had these big orchestrations, but the tune is so hidden. Like this, your tune had a little bit of that old school vibe like that, because it's got all this orchestration that's embedded in with the popular tune. You don't even realize like you're hearing all these instruments.
Yeah, and, that was one that checked all the boxes.
Right.
It was center line. It walked down the middle of the lane.
Yep.
But if anything, I would work on your lead a little bit. It seemed kind of dry, but other than that, that was a good song.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, all right. I can re-record my vocals, or you mean just to do it something with mixing?
Right. A lot of times mixing is a big thing.
Yeah.
When we recorded Whitney's record, because she had her voice kind of buried in the tracks the way a lot of lead singers are, but her voice is so special. Clive Davis sent it back and asked him to turn the vocals up. When Clive was actually right about that. Like if you hear Janet, Paula Dewey, they're not really fully singers, right? So their voices can sit down up in the music.
In the mix, yeah.
But when you got a voice like Erykah Badu or like
Whitney, you should. I should put it up front a bit.
You might be able to do that. It might be a mix thing. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
This next one comes from the Fat Funk Click. click.
Right.
Great.
Yeah, is somebody playing that violin?
Yep.
Yeah, Daryl.
That's my baby.
Ah.
I put that one out in 2014.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
Wow. Okay. Wow, you're playing you playing acoustic violin?
No, that one's an electric. That one.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Had a little echo effect on it. Give it a little more depth. Still trying to find that sound. You know what I mean? Still trying to find that sound.
It reminds me of the story of when Dave Matthews finished their record. Leroy, the saxophone player that passed away, they said was the mastermind. The music was done. He said, it's good, man, but what this needs is some stomping fiddle. And they said when they put the fiddle on that was the sound. They said they had crowds ever since then. So, yeah, looking for that sound. That right sound is what will set the whole thing off. It made me think of Boyd a little bit, too. So,
Dig. Okay, cool. Appreciate that. Thanks for checking it out, guys.
Yeah.
Very cool. We all know who this is as soon as we play.
Times before, but I don't remember this kind of pain. My soul's been tarnished many times before, but I know that someday it'll shine again. So if I run to you, will you betray me? If I run to you, will you deceive me? So if I run to you, will you betray me? If I run to you, will you deceive me? I know your promises are nothing new to me. These lovers' games are also common. The face has changed, but the lines remain the same. Why should I think that you're so different? I have been searching for a long time for a woman who dares to need me. But I'm not so sure that deep inside of you resides the lover that you have shown me. So if I run to you, will you betray me? If I run to you, will you deceive me? So if I run to you, will you betray me? If I run to you, will you desert me? So if I run to you, will you betray me? If I run
Y'all know who that was.
Who was that?
You know who that was, Hannah.
Was that Thomas?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome, Thomas. Well done.
You knew.
Thank you very much.
Thomas,
So talented.
how did you record that? What did you record that through?
Actually, a buddy of mine does samples and whatnot, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he put together the track, and I sang over top of it. And of course, he had Bee Gees in the background. So it's kind of a combination of
Live
you know,
and
yeah.
Do you know if he was working through Pro Tools or?
Yes, he was using Pro Tools.
Okay. Mm-hmm. What about you, Nenad?
Nenad, okay, yeah. And I'm using Steinberg's Cubase.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I have 12 Prod in the latest version, so.
Right.
But I'm on Cubase since 1993, so like.
Yeah.
So the last 30 years being with the same tool, so I wouldn't change it.
That's what a lot of the film composers use. Hans Zimmer, they're all on Cubase.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, because it allows you to work with the video the same. You know, you can upload the video and you can see the picture.
Yeah, but this goes back to like to do what you guys are doing now. Used to take all kind of big studios and stuff. Where Quincy Jones is like doing studio. He's got 3 boards lined up, and now you can do more than them tracks at home. So that again, now it's letting you be able to be owning what it is that you put out with the vision, knowing that it's in your best interest to do that. It's beautiful seeing these big productions. These are big productions. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's why I don't want to give up Vegas.
There you go.
I love it.
Yes.
Well, we got the final one for the night because everybody wasn't on as usually. But of course, Fred, Clarence, Nathaniel, you can still get in one if you want to while this one's playing. Anna, I know you're driving, so you can't slide one in. But if I don't get nothing in the next 5 minutes, this one will be that one. So we'll see what's.
I
You can send it, Anna.
Yeah.
Oh, whose song is that? Who did that?
That's a Jerry B joint.
That's you, JB?
That's awesome.
Who's that playing on the
You
drums?
snapping, man.
Oh,
That's awesome.
fire.
Who's that playing on them drums, Jerry?
So the brother that's playing the drums is now the MD for Beyonce. His name is Derek
Oh,
Dixie. Derek Dixie.
yeah.
That's crazy. That was crazy music. I loved it.
Yeah,
Busy, fast.
it had a little touch of Mother's Finest and the Mothers of Invention.
Yeah.
I tell you.
Yeah.
That's one of the first songs I wrote out of time. My keyboard player, when we were on the road, he kept telling us we got to get out of 4. We got to get out of 4 because we were doing more contemporary stuff.
Yeah.
So I actually was pushing my little daughter on the swing. And I don't know, the way the squeaking was going, it was in 7. So I got the drum beat from that. And Derek happened to be in the studio. And so we were laying it down. And Derek came in and just did an amazing job. And it was like, yo, there's no way my drum tracks is going to be on there. So we kept his, you know. And
Okay.
It's nice, man. I would love to do an experiment with that, just to hear that 7/8 groove.
Yeah.
As a groove, like a
yeah.
Because it's you might have a take 5.
Absolutely.
But it takes 7.
Yeah, right.
There was in a groove.
Yeah, but just to tell you something, odd times like 5/8, 7/8, 9/8, those are traditional folk songs in Serbia.
Exactly.
Wow.
Like Niška, I'm from Niš, and Niška Banja is tuta 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 tuta. That's the basic. That's the folk song. So odd times are quite familiar. You know, when I hear odd times, it's like traditional Serbian song.
Yeah.
It came from
it just shows the universality of music, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's typical for southern Serbia, those odd times, you know, 7/8, 9/8, and rarely 5/8, but also.
Wow.
So it's in my genes when I hear it. Yeah, 7/8.
Cool.
Nice. This is our dear Anna. It's called Falling Out.
Monday is a good time to call day. After we made love all day.
Can you guys hear that? That's kind of low for me.
Today is a shorter call day. After we made love all day. If you want some more, why do you behave as if there's nothing wrong with your lack of communication? Oh, why do you behave as if there's something wrong with my high expectations? Today could have been a good catch-up day. That you explain away just how busy you are. I'll wait, but I love that blank slate. Wait, did the internet break? Maybe just your thumbs. Why do you behave as if there's nothing wrong with your lack of communication? Oh, why do you behave as if there's something wrong with my high expectations? Falling out of what? Falling out. Never got to love. Falling out. Was too late, already packed away. Feelings from yesterday, long with our last kiss. When you behave as if there's nothing wrong with your lack of communication. Oh, when you behave as if there's something wrong with my low expectation. Falling out of what? Falling out. Never got to love. Falling out. Was it just your fix? Falling out, falling out, falling out. I quit.
Nice.
Acapella. Who's doing all that singing?
Yes, you rock.
Anna.
That was dope.
Anna,
Right.
Anna, you rock. Where you at? You're on mute, Miss Ma'am. That was really, really good. So this is
There I am. I'm back. I'm back. Sorry, guys. I dropped off.
that you rock. That
Thank
was
you.
very, very good melody on that.
Okay. Got to run,
Yeah, I
y'all.
like the
Thank
melody.
you.
Got to get the music.
Love you,
Thank
Tom.
Yeah.
And this is
Everybody's-
the last one for the night, the last one that came in, but this is the mighty, mighty Fred Lane.
The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Only fools despise wisdom and discipline. Happy is he who finds wisdom and gains understanding. For the profit of wisdom is better than silver, and his wages are better than gold.
Knowledge divine, it polished my mind. Forget the jewels in Solomon's mines. I want the jewels inside of his mind. Wisdom from high, beyond what the world calls wise. Towards the most highs, where I've set my eyes. To recognize deceptive lies, conceptualized by the adversary. Gracious Lord, I humbly implore. Discernment is what my heart and soul is hungry for. And understanding, so in your ways I can strongly mature. As a child, I thought as a child. Before, my mind was obscure. Pertaining to the wise ways of you, Lord. Till I got a taste of wisdom, got me chasing you more. Not in fleeting riches, but in your word I am secure. Seeking wisdom as a shepherd would for a lost sheep. Diligently searching to their paths tracked across me. On my pursuit for wisdom, bless me, Lord, not to fall asleep. Laziness like a chasm, tripping it, that fall is deep. Lord, as I keep going in my pursuit to grow astute, steps I execute with prudence as the root. Bless the bear good fruit. And you, Lord, lie wisdom, knowledge, and honor. Before earth was formed, wisdom was with you as a co-designer. To and fro in your word, I go yonder and ponder upon the value of wisdom, that it was your first creation. Before you making man and arranging the constellations, adjacent to wisdom's doorway, I wait earnest with patience. Wisdom to gain and taste of it is my goal. Seeking wisdom for it day and night I patrol. Seeking wisdom, the word of God I deeply extol. Honey sweet to the taste, for wisdom it is sweet to the soul. Wisdom to gain and taste of it is my goal. Seeking wisdom for it day and night I patrol. Seeking wisdom, the word of God I deeply extol. Honey sweet to the taste, but wisdom it is sweet to the soul. Show me the path where I should walk, Lord. Point out the road for me to follow. Without your guidance, Father God, I'm liable to stride oblivious down the pathways of wickedness. And answer follies, calling, falling fraud to lasciviousness. Assist me in this, the doing of your will. With reverence I kneel, requesting, Lord, your wise ways be revealed. Many ordeals I done suffered cause of rash decisions I made. For bad decisions I paid, I ask forgiveness be gave. Oh Father God, won't you teach me your wise ways? Don't let me wander aimlessly, stuck like some fool in the maze. Guide me by your hand. It's things I don't understand. I'm seeking wisdom, but I don't want the wisdom of man. Expand my mind with knowledge divine. You couldn't go to scholars to find that with your righteous path keep me aligned. Genuine and not inclined to distraction. Grant me wisdom and the discipline to put that wisdom into action. Lord, examine my heart, examine my mind, examine my soul. Father, please place me on that right road. All of my plans and decisions, Lord, let insight mold so that I might know your ways and grip them with a tight hold. What is wisdom that it prospers those who live by and speak it? What is wisdom that David encouraged Solomon to seek it? Your wise ways, Father God, please don't keep them secret. For wisdom, Lord, bless my quest not to be delinquent. Wisdom to gain and taste of it is my goal. Seeking wisdom for it day and night I patrol. Seeking wisdom, the word of God I deeply extol. Honey sweet to the taste, but wisdom it is sweet to the soul. Wisdom to gain and taste of it is my goal. Seeking wisdom For it, day and night I patrol, seeking wisdom. The word of God I deeply extol. Honey sweet to the taste, but wisdom it is sweet to the soul. Before I got saved, the Bible, oh yeah, I was reading it. Searching for wisdom, ignoring wisdom's key ingredient. Obedient to nothing, wise in my own eyes. And far as discipline I used to despise. Seeking wisdom, as a shepherd would for a lost sheep. I searched till I got sick and weak. Some nights, I lost sleep. Reading the word of God, inside it I fall engulfed deep. I read to its capacity vastly. Psalms, Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, hoping steadfastly to at last acquire the wisdom of God in its entirety. In privacy, I'd read scripture silently. There was no denying me, I couldn't rest a bit. Knowledge I was on the quest to get, which led me from out of the Old into the New Testament. Yeah, knowledge was gained from the words that I read, on verses I fed and had stored inside of my head. But inside I felt dead, filled with dread was my disposition. As I kept fishing for wisdom, still I felt something's missing. And that something was Jesus Christ. I wasn't a Christian. To accept Christ as my savior, yo, I made that decision. Listen, through Jesus Christ with God I receive reconciliation. What is it to seek wisdom and of it gain accumulation, and deny God's greatest wisdom, which is his gift of salvation? Jesus Christ, the wisdom of God, the first of all creation. In him lie all the treasures of wisdom, knowledge, and honor. Before earth was formed, Christ was with God as a co-designer. Through Jesus Christ, the heavens and earth were made, and through Christ, the Son of God, only can sins be forgave. Yo, I realize knowledge divine is what I chase to get, but the greatest wisdom is through Jesus having a relationship with God. The prophet is better than wages of gold. Jesus Christ, the word of God, is whom I deeply extol. Fear God, and for Christ Jesus seeking patrol, and gain God's perfect wisdom, which is sweet to the soul.
The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge.
Wisdom, to gain and taste of it is my goal. Seeking wisdom, for it day and night I patrol. Seeking wisdom, the word of God I deeply extol. Honey sweet to the taste, but wisdom it is sweet to the soul. Wisdom, to gain and taste of it is my goal. Seeking wisdom, for it day and night I patrol. Seeking wisdom, the word of God I deeply extol. Honey sweet to the taste, but wisdom it is sweet to the soul.
Fred preaching that sermon.
Amen. Amen.
Thanks for listening, y'all.
What else is there to say? Okay. Preaching wisdom.
Is that at 83 BPMs?
I would have to check. I'll have to go back.
The reason I'm asking is because that seems to be kind of like a BPM that hits that kind of vibe. 83, 84, somewhere in there. I was just asking, off the top of your head. Okay, but it's fat groove, definitely.
Thanks. More to come. That's just classic jaunt. You know what I mean? I like sharing. Because y'all was talking about jazz, so I was like, it's a jazzy vibe.
I was checking that out. Yeah.
Definitely. You got people on like Clarence Hards though, who could take you off that loop and put a real fat piano on there to take it some different places too. So
and Jerry, excuse me, who was the keyboardist on your first joint?
That was Cliff Barnes.
I am not surprised.
Yeah.
that was phenomenal.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, Cliff is no joke,
Absolutely.
Definitely. But this is how we roll. This is another Sunday night in the bag. I appreciate everybody, especially Roy, for giving us your time, brother. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Pleasure, man. Really pleasure to meet everybody. Yeah, and hear what everybody's doing. Very creative. Yeah.
Well,
yes.
you're more than welcome to drop in anytime you have. You just send me a text and go, yo, where's the link? And jump on in with us,
Okay, sounds good.
The next brother we're going to have on is Danny Jones, who owns Cross the Road Studios in Katy, Texas. And he turned me on to the immersive audio. And he's the gentleman I talked about with respect to doing the Al Green collection. He let me hear Still in Love with You from Al Green, and those horns and those background vocals, it was crazy. So he's going to talk about that. I've already did an interview on the podcast with him. So look that up on YouTube, the EntreMusician, Danny Jones. But peace and blessings to all of you. Anna and Terry's left already, but Anna is always like the rose among the thorns. here, giving the vibe.
She did the acapella.
Yeah, she did the acapella. That's her vibe.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's cool.
So, everybody have an incredible evening, and we'll look forward to seeing you next Sunday.
Thanks, Jerry. Y'all take care.
Thanks so much.
Good night, everybody.
Thanks.
Take care.
Thank you.
Okay, take
Thank
care.
you.
Be brilliant, be wise. Go ahead.
All right.
All right.